All I can do is
Aye.
think.
With that said, maybe we'll have to go ahead and
You're like Curly.
agenda stand approved as
Trying to think,
presented.
but nothing
Let's go ahead and open up the
happens.
meeting. Okay. Ready.
Henry County Commission, Henry County, Missouri, Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, 14th day of the April term. The Henry County Commission met pursuant to adjournment at the courthouse in Clinton, Missouri. Those members present were Jim Stone, presiding commissioner, Mark Larson, North District Commissioner, Amy Heredia, Henry County Deputy Clerk. At 9 a.m., Commissioner Stone brought the meeting to order. The agenda was approved as presented. The minutes from the Tuesday, May 13th, 2025 meeting were read. Commissioner Larson made a motion to approve the minutes. Commissioner Stone seconded the motion. Motion carried. The minutes from that should say Wednesday. I see that. May 14th, 2025 special meeting were read. Commissioner Stone made a motion to approve the minutes. Commissioner Larson seconded the motion. Motion carried. Expenditures from the following departments were approved to be paid: Buildings and Grounds, Court Administration, Employee Benefits, Circuit Clerk, Emergency Management, Road and Bridge, Assessor, Elections, Inmate Security, Recorder of Deeds, Law Enforcement, GR, 27th Circuit Treatment Court, and General County Government. At 9:30 a.m., Michael Geyer, citizen, approached the commission requesting a freeze on property values in the Davis Walker area due to recent hardships and to make a complaint regarding noise from truck traffic at highways K and 18, and request information regarding a possible noise ordinance. The commission asked Mr. Geyer to return in a couple of weeks to give them time to research whether an ordinance is possible and when Commissioner Bradley was back. At 9:45 a.m., Sheriff Aaron Brown and Captain Michael Bilbrook joined the meeting to present a letter which will be published in the paper this week, identifying Thermo Scientific Portable Analytical Instruments, Inc. as a sole source for the 1064 Defender handheld chemical analyzer. Sheriff Brown also presented a form to update the authorized representatives for the Missouri Surplus Property Sales Program. At 10 a.m., Dennis Bowers, Road and Bridge Supervisor, attended the meeting for the opening of the bids for 6-inch steel channel. Bids were as follows. Bid 1, River City Steel, $30,329.75. Bid 2, Dam Steel, $30,250. Bid 3, Alro Steel, $26,959.15. Bid 4, T&W Steel, $26,969.80. Bid 5, VBrock, $31,539.75. Commissioner Larson made a motion to accept the bid from Alro Steel. Commissioner Stone seconded the motion. Motion carried with the roll call vote. Larson, yes. Stone, yes. Bradley, absent. Dennis provided updates on approaches repaired in Davis Township and presented an agreement for an easement on 480 Road in Springfield Township. Commissioner Larson made a motion to approve the agreement. Commissioner Stone seconded the motion. Motion carried with the roll call vote. Larson, yes. Stone, yes. Bradley, absent. Dennis also presented an adjustment to the cost claimed for soft match on bridge number 0370031, which the commission approved and signed. Amy Heredia, Deputy County Clerk, distributed copies of the recent audit report to the commission. Dennis Bowers shared that MoDOT would be responsible for any noise reduction signs in the area of Highway K and 18 because both are state highways, but that they would likely only be able to post something if White Oak Township had an enforceable ordinance. Dennis will gather more information on the situation. 10:50 a.m., Charlie Kidweiler approached the commission with a complaint about rock washing off approaches in last night's rain. 10:58 a.m., Commissioner Larson made a motion to end closed session. Commissioner Stone seconded the motion. Motion carried with the roll call vote. Larson, yes. Stone, yes. Bradley, absent. There's a couple just little typo-y.
Yeah, there's one team or
couple misspelled words.
Yeah. Anyway.
It happens.
Yep, it does.
So I'm going to fix those.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that. Motion been made and seconded to approve minutes as presented with a couple spelling errors corrections. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Okay.
I'm not sure how long we can sit on that Great River check waiting on Jake, because we have a certain turnaround time that we have to. I can't remember how long it says, within 48 hours or something.
Is that Just it's a check.
They'll pay within 48 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll just
We can
wait.
send the check.
We'll wait.
We'll have to wait on that.
Well-
We'll check her
We won't send it.
without the signature.
Yeah,
That's
without
the big thing.
everything.
We're
So
supposed to have all three of us on that. That's on the bridge. Good morning.
stamp, please, sir.
Hmm. PT. About more of a stamper.
No, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Better pile of checks. Stamp on that? I think so. Stamp. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. We don't have too many checks.
No, it's not too bad today.
As long as mine's in there, I'm good. Yes, sir. June 19th, the courthouse. Alright, so tomorrow, yeah, we'll shoot for tomorrow. I'll have them send out a message tomorrow. Okay, we're good.
Cheers.
Okay, sounds good. Yes, sir.
I keep getting the paper shuffled in.
That's,
I've done that like twice.
oh, that's your bid. Oh,
That's not mine. That was your paperwork. Mine's over there.
this, that one. Should have wrote the minutes.
Mark, what time's your meeting today downstairs?
10,
10.
Did you get Google Meets figured out?
I did. Me and my technologically advanced self. I learned how to turn on the power.
Google Meets is way easier than Teams, but that's maybe because I'm just used to it.
We don't have Teams, do we?
I have Teams,
We
but
do.
you can get Teams if you want.
I want it. Does it cost money?
I don't think so.
Cause I'm broke.
Me too.
Covered up.
Did you lose it?
On that.
What are you looking for?
And that's-
Are you out? On my phone, I'm sorry. I will. We don't have anything on the agenda
There
today,
we
do
go.
we specifically?
No, do we have a, who's y'all? You-
I got all kinds of stuff.
Let me catch
No.
up with my bills and then I'll listen to
Now you gotta
Mark's.
slow down a little.
I'll listen to Mark's spew in just a minute. He's been a busy fella.
You might want earplugs. I'm gonna go give you a copy.
Oh no. Is this in question again?
Nope, no question.
She your intern? What's your name?
Jessica. Tiffany.
What? What?
This is the third
What?
time.
Can she
I don't
speak?
know who Jessica is, but
You
it's
don't
me
know.
now, I guess. It's the third time.
Tiffany, what's your last name?
Tiffany.
Decker,
Thank you.
I quit.
Tiffany.
She was your
I-
intern.
I wouldn't want to be a sitting.
I'm going to Johnson
I want to
County.
move down another couple years.
We fired you 3 times yesterday.
Oh, okay.
The floor is yours, Mark.
Are you done with bills?
Yeah,
All right. This is my new intern, Tiffany.
Jessica.
It's been a long few days. Generators moved. Y'all see it in the hole down there? We got the date set for June 19th. They're going to shut down for 4 to 5 hours. With that being said, can you send an email out today?
Yeah.
They're going to shut off the power after hours for 10 minutes tomorrow
10 minutes after hours, so at
Yes.
4:30.
at 4:30. With that being said, they ask that all electronics are powered down. They have to get into the 2 fuse boxes downstairs, and they have to shut the power off to get the cases off of them. And they said that'll take about 10 minutes.
Okay. Sometimes jury trials don't stop.
It's basement and first floor.
Okay.
well, that'd be
Still
the jury
affects the
trial.
courthouse.
So
So,
Better make sure it's done
yeah, before it happens,
before.
before that power is shut off, we need to make sure that they are done upstairs.
'Cause you could
Because
be in a
if
world.
they are not, and we shut down their stuff, and they're in the middle of a jury trial, we could affect a lot more than just a light switch.
Yeah.
So,
that's the maintenance bin, right? You're talking to Ronnie and Chris.
Yeah, if they're the ones doing it, I don't care who's doing it.
All right.
One of the things-
They're coming in after their normal working hours, right?
Yeah, for 10 minutes.
So, but you're gonna get charged at least an hour. So
Right.
why don't, instead of that, if we get done here at 4:30, right? Why don't we just make it like 5 o'clock or 5:15, set a time that would give you, they're not standing around down there and then all of a sudden we find out something's going on. Put a little distance between the end of the day and
Well, last
The
week,
worst-
the jury trial went till like 8
8
o'clock.
Yeah,
o'clock.
that's the
There's
problem.
no telling.
Jury trials, hey,
Yeah.
they was, the jury was
Sometimes I'll
still
go
up
into midnight.
at- Yeah, they was up at 8, 9
then
o'clock.
because
You just
I mean,
can't,
nobody,
but you
you're
can't,
already putting something in there that nobody knows the answer to, so why don't
Yeah.
we alleviate all that? Set it up for Saturday, we're gonna pay overtime no matter what. Why not just do it on a Saturday where we're not affecting anybody, we're not holding them up, where we're paying them for standing and looking at each other? I mean,
I will
you're
check
gonna-
with them, but I'm pretty sure they're going out. It's Memorial Day weekend, so I think they're gonna be gone.
Can
But
you
I'll,
put it, can you put it off?
yeah,
for
we might
another
see if
week?
we can put it off. another week.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I do, just make it simple. That way you're not dependent on up here, and we're not dependent on something there.
We're gonna
It
schedule it for
hasn't been
midnight.
in, I mean, it hasn't been in for a while, so 1 week's not gonna make much of a difference.
what are they gonna get into, what do they have to get into? Don't, it's just the main power button, isn't it?
Yeah, the 2 tie-ins downstairs.
That's all there is.
But to get the cases off,
Yes,
to
they
turn
just
the
have
power
to shut everything down while they took that.
Yeah.
I guess I'm having trouble with 4 hours to,
So that's just for the 10 minutes. Whenever they hook in the
Right.
generator and everything, they have to hook the courthouse power into the generator. And then also coming out of the generator. So you don't wanna play with 220 live.
no, but what I'm saying, I just can't hardly believe
I
4
don't
or
think it's
5
gonna,
hours for,
it's not gonna take that long.
If-
no.
No, but you need to understand also
They're planning for worst case scenario.
that they're doing that, and
Mhm.
you're doing it on a Saturday, and I don't care what business you are. I'm not coming here for 2 hours on a Saturday for overtime and charging you that, because as a business, you can't do that. So you're gonna get charged a half a day, no matter what. I mean, that's just, common sense.
Well, I just know that jury trials don't work on our schedule.
No,
Right.
If they go over that 10 minutes and they're up there and they're on,
you don't shut them down.
say they have somebody on the phone who's witnessing at the moment or something, and we've shut them down, we
Yeah.
could throw their whole trial.
That's
Yeah,
that's
it
what
could
I
be.
do. I do it on the weekends. I don't have anything to worry about. You're gonna pay the overtime no matter what. And that's just.
Well, first off, you're gonna have to talk to them. Let them know we can't do the courts, you can't just shut down like that. We can't set a time and say they're done. Not if there's a jury, there is a jury trial going on.
The main hub of our network and phone system is in the basement. If
That's
you turn that off,
everything.
you shut it all down as far as phone and internet go. Yeah, we may have lights.
And I wanted to move all the breakers out from underneath the moat,
On the
put them
second,
in
third
the
floor.
building.
They are. That's where they're being moved to.
That's what,
That's another reason to shut the power down.
oh,
All that's
okay,
coming in.
now we're getting down to, I'm
That's
getting little
good.
All
facts out of it,
All
'cause
that's good moved inside.
that's one of the things that need to be done. I'll agree with that. Now, they're gonna do that,
That's not coming out of my budget.
it's,
No, it's not.
are they,
And that was not part of the original bid. That was all stuff that maintenance added on.
Do we have a price for it? What
Yeah.
they're gonna charge or?
I moved the generator over. So
we
no,
better,
I don't,
you know,
I
that,
don't know.
I'm telling you, we better find out a little more about this whole deal. If we're getting into that, that could be some bucks.
I need to talk to Chris. But
Yeah.
it's, I mean, you guys have been wanting it done.
I've been,
So if they're
hey,
gonna do
but
it,
guess what? The big thing was getting it done and getting that. It was pricey.
it's gotta be under the 12,000 threshold, because otherwise
Well-
you'd have to bid it out.
We're gonna have to have a breaker box, new breaker box.
If it was over $12,000, you'd have to bid it out.
Bids on it.
That's,
So it's not over that. I mean,
Well, if it needs to be done, it needs to be done. But
Got the generator moved
If
over.
it is, he has to bid it out, and he
Well,
knows
see,
that.
what they're doing, we're pulling old fuses that was back in the old days where they had the canister fuse.
Well, I understand what's going on.
And you go to swapping them, I know what, it's nothing, I think $3,000 or $4,000 on a damn box.
Chris is well aware. He's called and asked about what the bidding threshold was. He was told what the bidding threshold was. He knows. So, and he hasn't asked to bid it out. So I'm assuming it's under that bidding threshold. So you won't have to bid. If you want to know, call Chris.
Oh,
That's
well,
what
I'll
we
find
need
out.
to get the answers from.
We need to talk to him. Cause that, I'm not complaining about it, cause that's something we wanna do for a long, long time.
Yes.
But the big thing was getting it done.
I thought it was finding somebody that wanted to even touch it.
Well, it's been touched. Because most of it's been moved.
It has,
The new breaker boxes are already hanging on the wall.
then it already got it.
They just gotta
Okay,
run
then
the
we'll-
water. The water. Don't run water. The wire.
That was a
No,
bad
They're running
mix.
the wire,
Bad mix, Mark.
but they're running, the other outfits running the wire and hooking up.
Yep.
And is that an add-on cost there?
I moved the generator.
In other words, he's saying you need to talk to Chris.
And somebody better talk to him. I don't wanna come up here with a damn big bill and not, we know what we got bid out.
I don't, you'll have to excuse, I don't know who Chris is. I have no idea.
He's a maintenance, Chris Worth.
Is he the older gentleman?
He works over in jail most of the time now.
She's not-
That's where he's at.
3.5 foot
Yeah.
tall.
Oh, no.
You're on video, Mark.
Hi, Chris.
I'll have him come up.
Cause we definitely wanna know what.
Well,
we
yeah, I
got.
would think it's a good idea to know what it is. They're
Yeah,
already halfway there
well, that's,
committed.
that can be a big, big problem. So,
So that's generator. Meetings downstairs, 10 o'clock this morning with the brains. So we're heading there next. Before you, I gave you a copy of a
sorry,
siren protocol. The reason for this is because Subby and I have, in my office all together, have taken a lot of heat the last couple of days over tornado sirens. We have nothing to do with tornado sirens.
Right.
But I agree with the public, they need to be tested. We need to know when they work, what they work.
What's the reason for them not being tested? You got just speculation.
Well, the last one we caught when Subby talked with them is they forgot.
But they're in charge of it.
So they're in charge of setting them off. Each of the entities are in charge of maintenance.
see the other, when they got the siren, I know down at Tightwater, or the school, that went through the emergency management grant. They worked on it. It's Todd Saturday, I think, so we done that.
So the cities
Started on it.
themselves own fire, or, I'm sorry, own the sirens.
The entities
The
do.
In
Yeah.
municipalities, I think, now I don't, that's the way I understood it. And then the fire department down in Tightwater is a little, I think they got involved in it too.
So we talked with Bill Collins and Tightwad, and there's a little dysfunction down there.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to maintenance that one there at the fire station.
Yeah.
And we're pushing for the testing so we know which ones work before the storms happen, because where did the tornado hit Monday night and where did the tornado siren network?
Yeah,
So we're hoping one of y'all, commissioner wise, can send that over and put a little pressure on communications to do monthly testing. I know we have no say so, but
I
it's for
thought they were supposed to be done like the first Wednesday.
the first Wednesday of every month.
Every
they
month,
do.
but no. Sometimes
I don't
they
think
don't
Clinton
because
does theirs.
it's more-
every Wednesday, do
Yeah, Clinton.
they? Do they?
I don't.
every
The only
month?
time that they don't do it is if there's storms in the vicinity.
I didn't think it was every month.
They haven't done
I think
them
Chris
last
is
two
right.
times.
So communication sets off the city of Clinton's also, and they were not tested this last time either.
Really?
The last time was when?
The 6th of May? No, 7th of May?
We're trying to get the exact last time they were tested.
That hasn't been that
So, but they need to be done monthly. And if there's severe weather or if it's raining that day, do it the next Wednesday. And I know we have no say so, but we're the ones taking the phone calls and getting our butts chewed.
So this should go to 911, not the city council or whatever it is.
Yeah, 911s are the ones that set them up and should do the testing.
Yeah, but who's the one that tells them to set them off?
Right.
That's the next thing.
Seems to me like if you're
We
gonna
got-
send it to 911.
We had that issue here a while back.
The city council too, so they
Yeah.
understand they
Are you talking for testing purposes or for?
No, for the actual, and
Well,
it
that's-
doesn't matter, even testing, you gotta have, who's the one setting them off? Testing,
Who's instructing the
yes,
dispatch center to set them off
That's
for the
right.
Well, we
testing?
got a protocol now. We can give that to them.
I didn't get that far reading your sheet here, but
Okay, prior to
Just,
the protocol, who was in charge of?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows who actually said you guys need to test the
Right.
sites.
or who needed to set them off when they need to be
So
set.
whenever they need to be set off, that comes from the National Weather Service.
So we had that,
We have no, that comes from the
Well-
National Weather Service.
It seems like emergency management actually should be in charge of this. You're the ones that deal with the
I guess.
National Weather Service. So
yeah, you're all the
in
ones talking.
Yeah, in all actuality,
And
and I know it hadn't been like this, but in all actuality, since you deal with the National Weather Service, you guys should be the ones to tell, fire stations, whether it's Clinton, Tightwad, whoever, cities, whatever, this needs to be done. Because that's I mean,
that falls under you.
it may not have been
Right.
your job, okay, or you have not, maybe nobody's given you the authority for that to be your job,
Yeah.
but,
The
I
thing
believe
is-
that needs to be your job, and I think
Wait.
because you're the one involved with it, that's gonna have to
Yeah.
handle it.
You're the one involved in broadcasting, that's the big thing. That's where it comes to.
And that will make it easier probably for you guys. Am I not right, or am I, I mean,
Oh, no, what?
because the thing,
This comes back to
This,
where,
this, some of this stuff is really, really ignorant on everybody's part. I mean, it really is. This
Right.
is something that you're dealing with people's lives. And if that's the case, then, you know, I'm gonna make people mad, but I'm good at that. Somebody needs to pull their head out. There is no excuse whatsoever for these not being tested. There's no excuse for these not going off. And it seems a little stupid, and I'm gonna use the word stupid because that's what it is. If they're not tested, how the hell are you gonna know if they work? And then you have a scenario like we just did down at Taiwan. So instead of everybody going, well, I don't know, no, I don't know, how about we, as a county, in charge of emergency management, say, you know what, Mark, you and Subby, this is your deal,
Yeah,
make
it's
it work,
yours.
make it work. If you have blowback from it, then bring it to us and let us take the heat, and then we can deal, whether it be, because apparently the city and the county don't get along. For what reason, I have no idea, but the longer I've been here, I'm starting to see that, and we need to end that. They need to get along, they need to work alongside each other and quit butting heads over stupid crap. Get this stuff done, do what everybody was elected to do, and that is to represent the people, whether you're in the city or you're out in the middle of nowhere, doesn't matter. Our job, their job, is to do what's right for the people, and nobody wants to step up and do it. So, personally, and I mean,
people want to step up and do it. It's just, do
Well-
we have the power?
Right. Well, I mean, I'm not going to speak out of turn, but I think Jim's with me. I think that this, because you're the one in the middle of it, so it's going to be a whole lot easier for you than for 5 or 6 or 7 or other people to say, well, we're going to do it on this day, we're going to do it on this day, we may not do it. Do it. Be done with it. It's simple. I'm pretty sure it's probably flipping the switch and the damn things go off. So this is not rocket science. There's no need to make it into it. But unless I'm saying something, Jim, you think is wrong, and I don't think I am, I think that's going to be the easiest way to handle this.
Done?
Yep.
I think the big part is we're the one we put ourselves in the middle of it. That's what we done. When we're advertising, just like saying, call you call you elected officials, get them to set them off. All right, and fine, then somebody's got to do it. The big thing is just like the municipalities used to, the way it used to be set off. The city done it because they was handling, but you got some of the outlaying, just like Blairstown. They didn't. I don't even know where their sirens ever working yet because nobody was over there. And there's where you get into some of those cases. And the one down at Tylod, I know they was school and them. That's how they ended up with them because Todd Sowerby had this grant they could get for sirens, so he put in for it, and that's when we got started in it. And then as we had progressed along, and nothing bad but Subby, he's sitting on there and he's going as emergency management. So therefore, he's doing the broadcast. Some of that comes out, and so therefore, somebody's got to set them off. And I don't know because used to, it was a deputy or something see a tornado and they'd call it in or something and set it off. I think years ago, what I've heard, and I never did know because most of it came through fire departments and stuff. Of course, they was here 24/7, just like 911. If they're not outside, they really don't have it. They can only do what they're told to do. Really, when it comes down to
Yeah,
it.
the National Weather Service sends it over. 911 sets them up.
Yeah, that's who sends
But see, that's who has to do it. And if that's the case, then National Weather Service is who's got to set it off. And,
National Weather Service does not set them off. The National Weather Service does not.
But
set
they
them
notify them to set them off. That's what I'm saying. They're the one notifying them to set them off.
Right.
But now on this testing, fine. Then you got to figure out, and if that's the case, then fine on the testing, and you've stepped up. Somebody's got to make sure it's done. And the cities, municipality, each municipality used to set it off, do it. But if that's the case, and they're not, just like down there, I don't think anybody knew how they went off down at Taiwan.
Yeah. Well, I'm about to.
You have an emergency management meeting tonight, right?
Yeah, but
Can you guys address that?
so that's fire department wise. These are owned by municipalities, not fire departments.
That was my next question was, so say it doesn't work, and when we do a test and it doesn't work, who is financially and who
So,
is in charge of
but here's-
fixing that?
There's the two parts of that. At least you know it's not going to work,
Right.
so you can have other means.
Sure.
And then that's up to whoever owns it, the municipality or to repair it.
Okay.
But
That's-
just like
that was-
some of this down there, it was right on the Benton County line, too. Where a lot of that happened down in there. That's where some of it fell. It's kind of like a division line when we had the storm, and it was right here. Well, how come nothing went off? It's because, well, it wasn't in our area.
Yeah.
And you all said that. Well, now it wasn't in the national weather, so therefore, you're putting yourself there. You say it. That's where it's at. But somebody, and when you're that close, it really needs to be go ahead and set it off. Just safety wise, don't hurt it.
I remember the days when the Calhoun Fire Department drove around in their fire trucks sounding their
That's-
sirens because that's all we had.
I can remember that too, Kelly.
There are other options if they're broke down.
But I don't know the answer to what you're doing, and just like Martin, and that's fine. But that's where it's headed right now. But we're putting ourselves there.
Well, they're the ones catching the backlash from it. So why not let them?
That's what you do to the test. We'll see.
This is a policy you guys.
Yeah, that's
do
something we came up with. So
So
either that, or we're gonna just start giving out everybody else's phone number, so we don't have to.
right. I mean, I understand the frustration. Are you wanting us to put this out, or are you
No,
going to
I was
have
hoping,
this-
I'll send it over, but it's something that needs to be sent to communications. But y'all can read through it and make sure.
Yeah. Not only communications, but every municipality that owns their own
Sirens.
Yeah,
siren needs this as well.
right.
Yeah, I think Clinton owns all theirs, don't they? Municipality, that's what they do. I mean,
I think it's pretty cut and dry.
to me, it's who owns them, who set them off.
Do we have a list of everybody that, I mean, I guess we probably do.
I wouldn't, but I don't know.
We don't have, so it just,
So that's,
because I'm with what you said.
Oh, yeah.
I think it should go to 911, but I think it needs to go to
I
the
do too.
individual.
in municipalities,
Yeah.
that has the fire, if they got the sirens, that's who needs to set them off, or test them,
Right.
if
Right.
that's the case. Because if they're not working, then they have to have maintenance people take a look at it.
Plus, this
You,
actually,
you can't,
if you send it to all of them, this puts everybody on notice.
And the same page.
Right.
The same.
And it covers everything. And kind of forces a hand.
And let's face it, they don't do that every day. They're not in their office as city clerk thinking about
Does-
tornadoes. I mean, that's just not something
Right.
that.
no,
So if you had something that an email reminder that you send out of the
Well-
protocol a week before or something.
I think that's where it came from years ago with the fire department. That's who was down there all the time. That's who did the work on it. So, I don't know, I'm just talking, that's my thoughts, but what I'm saying, I understand how it's happening. Because it's being broadcast that way.
So would it be,
And that's your social media when they're putting it out. And just like everybody's gonna listen to their weather radio. Usually most of them have it. Unless it's
The
somebody
weather radios have
outside.
been a mess and haven't been working
Yeah. And some of them don't.
They actually stayed up this last go around.
that's
Nobody
positive.
cut any wires this last go
No.
around.
So anyway, but that's the big thing is, and it needs to be who has it. If it's Blairstown, they need to have somebody that's gonna check it.
do you have a list?
No.
You don't. Of who this, so then we basically have to send this to the cities and to the fire departments, I'm thinking, and then to 911. And that would cover everybody.
Well,
Then I think that's what we ought to do.
Here's more.
Oh, I got a whole list.
okay, what is?
There is a shelter set up for Red Cross for assistance. It is in Warsaw. We are not getting one in our county. We need to have a recovery plan set in place before they'll set up in our county. Last year we had that set where Dylan was going to do it, the recovery plan for us.
Mhm.
Do we know where we are with that? Okay.
What's a recovery plan?
Yeah, that's the first I heard of it. I don't know.
The recovery plan is how you're going to recover.
Yeah.
That's your groups that come in and help with assistance, like Red Cross,
Yeah.
the Baptist, all the different groups that come in to help with shelters, with money, with generators, things like that.
So we had this last year?
We had it set up to where Casinger was going to do it for us.
Yeah.
And then when I talked with Dylan, he said somebody came over and told him, I don't know who, that we're not going to go along with it for now.
Why?
I don't know. It wasn't me.
So we're gonna ask people to go to Warsaw, to go
That's
to
our plan for
Benton
this.
County. You live in Henry County, you're gonna go to Benton County because we haven't set one up yet.
Yeah, we're going to work on that today. How we get people down there? Because a lot of people.
How about if we work on getting one set up in Henry County? That'd be a novel idea.
I agree.
I mean,
Where's it at down Benton County?
It's going to be set up this morning, and she hasn't sent me the address yet. Red Cross has not.
I'm just curious where it was.
She called me last night, told me
what
that
kind
they
of-
were setting up
Do you have to have?
in Benton County. So,
I mean, is this money wise to set this up? What,
so once we have the recovery plan, like whenever Red Cross, it doesn't cost us anything. It costs us money to get our plan,
right,
but once it's in place,
it's done.
it is done.
What are we talking about? Ballpark, of getting it set up?
Don't know. I know when we had it last year with Casinger, they were just gonna do it at their cost, which knocked off 50%.
50%.
Right.
Why would we,
But we need to get we need to get a recovery plan in place because
yeah.
I know we think it's not gonna happen here, but it happened.
Well,
And
you
now
never think it's gonna happen until it does.
now we're behind the 8 ball. So if I can get with Casinger, can we proceed with getting a recovery plan going?
I'm good with it. I think,
Is Dylan the one that,
Yeah, Dylan.
Dylan write it?
Yeah.
I'd like to know who.
Well,
went
he
down
should
there
know
and
about it. I'm gonna ask him about it.
Oh, Dylan knows about it. I talked with him again this morning.
I was gonna say, I just talked to him last week.
Yeah, we got the
I talked to him.
we got the storm shelter added to our other plan to where we can start applying for grants for that. Let's see. Recovery plan, the outdoor siren, shelters in Warsaw, debris removal, all this stuff on the highway and the right of ways. Does the county have a place for that to go?
Yeah. I know of each township.
So it's gonna be up to each town.
Well, that'll be on the county roads. And that's the way it is right now. Usually all the landowners, the ones that takes care of a lot of it, they get all in.
Yeah.
Mine
I
put
don't
over.
know if you've been down there, but there's,
Oh, down there, Taborville and down in there. Well, I'll tell you what, it's a mess.
yeah,
I just
so-
had a guy today came in and lived down there. He's wanting to, he needs some 10 cents cut something. But he said, trees come through his garage. Luckily, he said, I'm a safe one. Some of the others went through the house.
So we can't do anything private property wise, but there's a lot of stuff along the roads. The highway department, I know they're hauling theirs over somewhere. They have a dump site in Brownington,
In
But-
Brownington?
toward Brownington. We watched them driving yesterday, but for the rest of the roads and right of ways and stuff that aren't highway department wise,
We
I
don't,
didn't know if we had. So it's up to each township.
we don't have a place. Yeah, that's where I'd have to say it'd have to be if that's the case. If you're gonna look for something like that. But most of it, I know it out in our area. Just stack it up and burn it.
That's kind of what I was.
That's all
Well,
we do.
the problem with
And
that
most of
is
the farmers,
when you have buildings that are in the road, you can't just stack up a building and burn it. You
now
got,
big buildings
Yeah.
gotta be destroyed.
yeah, EPA and you
Yeah.
got a bunch of regulations.
Yep.
And
The
once it's in the road, it's not their problem anymore. It's
And
your
you know-
problem, and you got to get rid of it.
Some of that falls under then the insurance they have. Usually they'll take care of a lot of it.
Does Benton County have a debris location for people to bring stuff?
Let's go to landfill.
Yeah.
Do they have a landfill?
No, they have a dump site,
Oh, they have a dumpster.
and I know the city of Clinton does for the debris out by the.
Well, that's out to
Mhm.
wastewater. But now you can't just take everything out there, can you?
No, that's the
Just
trees.
for trees and
Yeah.
you can't take buildings out there and hell, different things like that. But the county doesn't have any land. Make a dumpster.
About done. I need.
That's good. You got a meeting in 15 minutes, so you
Good.
can start again.
I approached communications about CAT access last year. That's the computer aided dispatch to where we can see what's going on in the county because we can't hear on the radio. So like when this tornado hit, the state's calling and asking what's going on here and there. I have no earthly idea.
Well, I've been there and they call, want to know what kind of what you hear. It's not just like Glory and some of them. It's whatever you can do. You don't have, not everybody has it set up to be able to do everything.
Or we can
Go out and find out the whole county,
Yeah,
what's going
but-
on.
if we do like, I'm gonna refer to other counties, we're gonna play catch up. If we do like other
Yeah.
counties and we have access to the cat, we can look at a screen and we can see everything that's going on in this county. Every call, everything that
Yeah,
anybody.
911 call is that what you're on?
It's
on?
it's not, it's through 911. It's through communication.
I don't know. Like I say, if you're not careful, you're gonna be full time. I'm talking about handling just events.
Well, I know, but that's my job to a certain point.
What's the matter?
Well,
Like I
you
said,
need, you need to know what's going on.
Yeah, when the state calls and they ask, well, what about the trailer that rolled over with it? I have no idea.
well, it's hard to keep up with every little item. And I really don't know how you're gonna do that. Even if you got it. Cause just like down there.
What's it take to get into that? I mean, I guess it's not. You're the emergency management director. Whatever you need to ensure and to make sure that you're able to do your job, there's no reason for you to have to call someone to find out, hey, what's going on out here? There's no reason for you to have to get in your truck and drive, kill 30, 40 minutes, come back, kill 30, 40 minutes to respond to somebody that is asking a question about a scenario. If it can be done sitting and looking at a screen, I mean, guys, this isn't rocket science. And I get to a point, Jim, what you're saying as far as you don't want to get too big or this or that. But once again, we are not in the 60s, we're 2025. When you can't perform and do a job and you cause an issue, now the county is at fault and we're negligent. So there's and I get it, there's a fine line to walk. You don't want to have to do stuff to where like your emergency management up in Jackson County, which is huge and all sorts of stuff. But like I said, it's 2025. We're not little Podunk, Henry County, or else we're always going to be little Podunk, Henry County. It's time to get with the times. It's time to give everybody, doesn't matter who they are, what their job is, the tools to be able to do their job and not hold them back. If you screw up, that's on you. If you are going to screw up and we have that in our mind, there's that possibility, I'm just going to be brutally honest, I'd fire you. I mean, I'm directed to the point. Do what needs to be done to ensure you do your job to the utmost to where people, when they look at Henry County, they go, hey, that emergency management, they're on top of it. Not when you walk in the door and people laugh and say, those guys, man, they suck. I got
one of the
real
things there, I
issues.
did know, where is it, Benton County, one of the things or St. Clair County. I know when people wanted to know, they was reporting something, it went straight to the emergency management.
Right.
That's what the people is to call in to them, but you could get with the scope of that deal down there, that's a lot bigger deal than just trailer roll up or something to hear about.
Yeah, we actually have a lot more damage than St. Clair County does.
I know Racket, well, Racket's not far, but I know right there, Taiwan.
We got a meeting downstairs. But
Whatever that thing was, deal.
Yeah.
Who is that? What is that? And why?
So it's computer aided dispatch.
Who called?
It's a log of every run.
For police,
Fire,
fire.
medical, everything in the county.
Okay, so why, what's the issue?
What?
Of being able to get in?
Dr. Scott came over when I asked him about access. He said that the powers to be talked and they didn't think that we needed access. And he's over,
Who's Dr. Scott?
he's the 911
Chairman.
chairman of the
Your
board.
chairman.
So he unilaterally decided that you don't need access to be able to do your job.
That's correct.
Really? Well, I'll say it on record, he's wrong. To the umpteenth degree. There's no reason for it. I mean, I'd like to know what his reasoning, or the board's reasoning, or whatever is behind not thinking that you guys, as emergency management, don't know, or don't need to know what's going on in the county. I mean, is he gonna pump everything over to you? What I do is I get his number, and every time I thought there was something going on, I'd give him a phone call. Doesn't matter what time or day, and then see how that goes. Because if people are putting roadblocks up for you can't do your job, then I would, and that, like, it's not right, but I get them involved, and they'd be involved to the point to where they wouldn't want me to go away. I'll give you what you want just so you'll leave me
So we can
alone.
leave it alone.
Yeah. Because I mean that's like very ignorant on his part. I mean it is. You don't do stuff like that. You better have a really, really good reason to keep you from having the information that you need. And I don't, like I said, I don't know Dr. Scott from Adam. I may be
Depends on
stepping-
depends on what's coming across. It's just like what comes into 911. If it's somebody and say there's shooting going on and it's an active deal and it comes across, you don't want to spread that all over the county.
We're not using it. We're not
No,
using
you
it
wouldn't.
spread.
No, you wouldn't want to, but that's still it's
How would
a
you
part
spread it
of
all
it.
over the county?
Let somebody I'll go and call so and so. That's problems. That's what is.
But if they're Jim, wait.
It depends on how many. No, you. Wait,
You get when you're
You're
gonna say
getting-
stuff like this. No, when you're gonna say stuff like
Well-
this, you have to back it up with facts that
That's-
actually mean something. So you got 3 people down there in that office that are gonna have access to that can see that, and I'm using her because she's the intern. So they look at this, and you're telling me you think that one of the 3 of these people is gonna pick up the phone and call somebody and say, hey, you know what, so-and-so just tried to kill himself.
No,
In what world are you living in?
I'm living in Dave's world.
Well, no,
And
you're
I-
not. You're
I-
living in
on
the
some of
50s.
that, we need-
Well, actually is where you're living.
Well,
Because
let's
you-
do some
you
checking
don't-
to see what the risk of. I will check in with
That's-
Johnson and some of those. Okay.
Trying to keep
See
people
where-
from doing their job and then getting on them for not doing their job.
Okay.
So we got a meeting downstairs. We're heading to. You got any questions in particular for
No.
Evergy DNR?
I'll tell you what, though, I will
Okay,
call.
hold on just a moment.
I called Johnson and
I've got somebody on hold for you. Go ahead.
called Johnson and some of them see what they got there, how they do that. Okay.
Hold on.
Is it?
He has questions about property tax. You're good.
Oh,
No, you got it.
oh. Hello. Just down. Yes, good. Okay, well, they're working on it right now, trying to get it all solved, but we haven't got everybody here and working on it. Mark and Jake's been working through and trying to get it resolved, get everything going. That's what we're trying to, and then I guess it may be on the ballot, I don't know. They have got enough signatures too, so I don't know what will happen there. But anyway, I think everything's moving forward on it, just a matter of getting everything figured out. I don't know what all the put in it.
You didn't
Yep.
have to write up on that stuff.
Pardon?
No.
The ordinance,
Yeah.
I changed what we put in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I thought
I
I
didn't think
emailed it to everybody. Did I not?
You may have. I'm not gonna answer that until I look.
Let me, let me look.
Hmm.
Yeah, your wife sent it to me, and then I changed the things
Yeah.
that we all talked about up here that
I
day.
understand that. Okay,
I don't
well,
know.
they're working on it, trying to get her done.
The only thing I didn't
Okay.
have was the,
I'm Jim Stone, presiding commissioner. Yeah, okay. And what's your name? Jerry Palmer. Okay,
No, I don't
Jerry.
think so.
Okay. All right.
Unless, did you send it
All
in
right.
Teams?
Yeah,
I'm looking right
Okay.
now. I just
Yeah.
dreamed that I sent it. I did change it. No, I don't see it there either. Well, I do have one. I did
well, that's
after Wendy sent it to me.
some of the problems I had with ordinances. Somebody's got to enforce it. And then when it gets into that nowadays, then it goes, just like the city or any municipality, they can't do something. They have to then turn it to a attorney, and then they'll have to go to court. And then that's when they start
Man, I should
process.
I even have an
what they
application.
get
We
in
have the
there.
application
Because
done
when
and
it gets in
everything.
court, a lot of the stuff they can't do. So I don't know. But that's I understand where you out there. I have trouble with ordinances. That you can make an ordinance, but if nobody follows it, it doesn't do any good.
I'll drop it into other various documents under county.
But I would, yes, yep, that's right. But I'll tell you what, if it is, if it's got an ordinance, probably the people talk to you, the municipality that you're living, it's Clinton or wherever it's at.
Here is the app.
Okay.
I know I did that the same day.
That'd be the people talk to you
Gotta
and say,
find-
no.
Gotta find where I saved it at.
Yeah. Write a citation. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I'll agree. I'll agree with you. We got them out in the country too. So. No. Yeah. Yeah.
I may have to look from my computer because I
Yeah,
can
there's
only
not-
get on my desktop up here. I
Yeah.
can't get on my.
Yeah.
I didn't think you had it.
I
I
do.
figured whatever it was you were doing, that time.
Used it several times. I don't recall falling asleep.
Yeah.
Resting your eyelids,
I
but
may have had my eyes shut.
just resting.
I think they can do something about it.
Just listen.
Yeah.
Like half asleep, half awake type of deal.
But
It took me like
I
sleep with
I
their
don't
eyes
know, and I
open.
don't know what they can do with that going on. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, I do have it somewhere, Mark.
Okay. All right.
It's just
Just
not
put it
there.
in.
All right.
I did drop the
Thank you for calling.
application into Teams.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. How's Jerry? Palmer,
Sure.
well, he got off on Senate Bill 19.
Jerry Palmer.
Then he wanted, they got off on municipality and the ordinances that they have and trashing and stuff like that, picking it up. He said, then you go down there and go to court, and you can't, you have to go to court. I said, okay, anymore, that's the way it all works. So, I don't know the answer to it. You know, something I wanted, really, and that's something we're gonna have to talk about too. If we go ahead and do the Senate Bill 190, and then if they voted down, saying, Lord behold, something happened and it gets voted down, then where do we stand?
Yeah, you've already passed the ordinance. if you continue on, if you don't wait for the election and you pass this ordinance
Then
before,
it takes
you've
precedent.
already passed the ordinance,
ordinance
the
is in
vote
effect-
down,
it's
I
in
don't think,
effect no matter what.
Okay,
I don't think a vote down will affect it in any way. A vote up's not gonna affect it in any way, and a vote down's not gonna affect it in any
well, I
way.
guess my thoughts are, you're still listening to people, if that's the case.
I mean, it's already
I mean,
enacted.
that's-
You
yeah, I know
guys you could do anything to it at that, I mean, at
Then,
that point,
I don't know,
doesn't change that.
that's what I'm just asking, that's my big thing is, cause then you have, cause the public's gotta vote on it, and I'm not against that at all. I just wanna know then where do you stand, cause you're going again, what's the public really want?
I mean, it's a possibility it could
Yeah.
get voted down. I mean, that's,
I mean,
but that's not
because
really
of
gonna
elections,
change
elections,
it.
you know how that goes.
It would surprise me
Huh?
if it got voted down.
It would surprise me too, but I'm just saying what if. Cause if, you never know. Okay, I thought Chris was out there a while ago.
He'll be back.
And I don't know on this National Weather Service and what they gotta, like say, here, if we're not careful and nothing bad, but just like Subby, I presume he's out at the radio station. When
He was in his basement.
Huh?
I think he was in his
I don't
basement.
see if he's down here in the basement.
No, his basement.
Is he is?
He does it at home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then if that's the case, but that's some of the problems because he's connected. And that's
Yeah,
where people,
well-
but and good or bad, I don't know. I'm just telling you what.
I would put it this way. I'd be venture to bet people would be very, very surprised how many lives somebody saved
Oh,
that night.
No,
Without a doubt.
What are you saying, Jim? I'm
No,
curious. I'm
what
not
I'm
I'm
saying-
not following.
you have to a division line that you can fall into on some of that stuff, and because
But what are
they're
we
doing
saving
is getting
ourselves from?
the big thing is whether you get called, just like them, all that, you need to check the sirens. You know, to me, it's who owns the sirens. That's who needs to be talked to. Just like municipality. If Clinton's did go off, they needed to talk to whoever it was, find out why.
Nobody's
Just like
disagreeing
I-
with that. What we're saying, what they're saying is we need
I'm
somebody in charge to make sure that that's happening with all of the cities. Okay, we understand
Okay.
Clinton's in charge of them and Clinton sets them off. Emergency management's just going to be the next guy to say, "Have you tested your sirens? If you haven't, you should." You know, I mean, it's not a
Okay,
matter
then you're
of
asking them to do it.
asking who to do it.
The city,
I think
municipality.
that's the whole point. He was going to send the letter to the cities,
Hey,
to the fire department.
okay, we're on the same page here. Everything there.
That was my understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was,
I think he wanted us to say.
oh, that's fine.
And the reasoning behind that is because he's probably thinking that as the commission,
Mhm.
we're gonna carry a little
Sure.
more weight. Maybe they'll pay attention to it.
Well, he's not wanting Jim to take control of their sirens or anything. He's just wanting to be able to have the authority to say, test your sirens.
Well, that's fine.
I don't think he was wanting to
You-
take over.
No, he's
anything.
just, I know, I
You
know
want it.
Subby. Did you get the email
You
from
want it.
Subby?
No.
You should.
I haven't got anything from Subby. In fact, I went down the other day because just like anything else, I didn't have anything.
Did you check your old email? Check your old email. Because I know Subby said he actually got a hold of, and sent out
Because I
a.
wanted to get with him today. Because Jeff was talking about it. What was it? And don't ask me why, because there's something about, Jeff, because Jeff was there. He came up to get my track loader to move that tree off the road and down there at his house. And he said, I said, well, I hadn't heard anything. He said, well, you should need to call Subby. And I thought, well,
Yeah, you.
Subby is an asset.
I
to
wonder
our
is,
county.
yeah.
He is a huge asset to this county.
And the
I think-
county loves it.
And I think it's good. Everybody follows him, and I think he's better on weather than what the weather station is.
Oh, he's way ahead.
Yeah. Well, concentrates on.
I removed
Well,
the
I'm
senior
not-
citizens application because I literally just got an email from Rick that said we changed it. So I put it on there and then I removed it. So
I don't. And it's not in my county, what?
I think there was just confusion on Mark's not wanting the emergency management to be in charge of all of the sirens. Mark's wanting to have the authority to tell the people who own the sirens
To
to
check.
test and
To
set their
check.
sirens.
Well,
Right, right.
We're not taking on any liability.
what I would probably do is ask her. Say, hey, have you checked? Because they need to, whoever owns it.
Well, I
That'd be
think
the
that's
part
whole
there.
point of it.
Huh?
I think that's it just gives them the authority to say something.
You'd think they would want to.
Like I said, I can see like the
I
small
would
towns
think-
though, just not this,
Right.
Like
you know.
Calhoun and Calhoun, Blairstown, and just like Davis School or I guess Tightwad. I believe it's Tightwad Steel. They only got one down there, don't they?
I don't know how many they got. I got one at the fire station.
I knew they had one fire station. I thought then, well, whatever. If they got one, well, Davis School's a pretty close fire station anyway.
Davis School is down
Oh,
there.
not Davis. I'm talking about.
That's where you were throwing me
No,
off. Jim.
down here.
Leesville.
Leesville School.
Do they have one at the school?
Yeah, I thought they did.
I don't know.
But anyway, my big thing is whoever down there, because that's who I talked to, Bill Collins. And I said, well, I don't know. I said, because he said, well, who's supposed to check them? I said, Bill, I don't know. So I said, I thought it was the municipality. I said, I don't know. I said, he said, well, I need to find out. He said, because he had been gone. And I don't know why they were checking. I'll bet that ain't batteries.
Where did the money come from to be able to put those there? Is that
Emergency
taxpayer, extra tax money?
No, it was grant.
It was grants.
See, and they went through everything and they didn't have enough money to pay half of it. They had to pay half. And a couple of years ago, or whenever they was doing all that, they went down and they drummed up and they had the fire department and then the Tightwad, or Leesville. They got together and got enough money to buy one. So they bought it. But I bet since it's been put up, I was single sold.
Probably
Check
checked it.
And I think if it's at the fire department, that'd be the people that you want to talk to check it. It doesn't take that long.
I honestly think that's just what Mark Harden's trying to figure
Right.
out.
Well, he's
I
trying
need
to
a
get away.
list. I want to know who's in charge of it. We need to test it on these days. And he
Because
wants to just have some authority to do so.
Everyone is thinking it's their
Yes.
deal.
Okay,
He's
and
trying
then
to
these,
head that off.
well, all the municipalities that own it need to check. Period. And if it's just like Blairstown, do they have a fire truck anymore over there?
Couldn't tell you. Don't know.
I don't know. That's in your area.
I got no
I
idea.
mean, if whoever it is over there, they got a mayor, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
That's who we could call him. That'd be the person to say, hey, you need to have it checked. Because situations like this makes you realize why it didn't, just like that one down there. I couldn't understand why it didn't, unless it wasn't in the direct path of the United States weather deal. Because that line really draws a fine line.
I wonder if we've got a map anywhere that shows where every siren is in Henry County.
Nope,
That would actually be a good thing to
I
have.
wouldn't know where that was. Would you?
Well, emergency management might have something that
No,
says where they're at, but
I know, I really don't. I don't even know how many.
See, that's what I mean. It'd be
Windsor,
it'd be good. to
Windsor,
know.
and how many they got? Because then Windsor have more than one or two.
I could ask Danny what if they
think
check
some of
theirs.
I don't know,
But
Calhoun's
most-
is loud.
Huh?
Calhoun's is loud, and I know they tested
Yeah,
them.
yeah, it is.
I know they test them.
And that,
You can hear it from his house. I've been out at my in-laws and can hear
So I don't-
Calhoun's
you
from
can
their
hear it.
house.
and I don't know, Deepwater's got one,
Do they have one?
I think so.
What
I
about
think-
Montrose? Does Montrose have one?
I think, I don't know, but I think they do,
I'll find out from Mark.
but we need it, all of them, but all the municipalities is the one where I think falls under. Other than, most of them turn it over to the fire department, cause they're there manning it all the time. And they've got personnel that work on it.
Well, if there's one at Leesville School, that doesn't lie within
I
a
see that,
municipality.
Well, that would, that.
The one
that's why-
in Tightwad I could see because it's the village of Tightwad.
Yeah.
But if there's one out at the school, that's
Well, the
not a
fire-
city
Yeah,
or
but the
a
fire department where, the way I understood it was out there by,
coal.
Cole, you know, where you,
Well, they have a substation out by
Did you
coal.
hear the fire?
Why?
Did you hear the sirens
Siren?
go off?
No.
You didn't?
No.
Okay. He's right by Cole.
I'm like.
Is there one at the school or at the substation?
Is
Do you
there?
know? Have you ever heard one out there? No.
We had our windows open, everything with our power was basically off,
Right.
and no sirens, no nothing. We just heard the wind gusts, big wind, and then that whistle like
I
strange.
just don't know that there's one out there unless they put one out there because of the school. But I don't know.
all I know is I mean, the way I
I
understood
know there's
it,
one fire.
at one time, they only had one, I know, cause Bill Collin, he was involved in getting the money up there because he was mayor and, Tyler. But, I thought they had everything but checking them is the next thing. Somebody's gotta check. I'll agree. The batteries is a big thing, cause I know one time, in fact, Scott called, he wondered, what's wrong with the one over at Blair's? But somebody got checked. And I
So we
said,
know
well,
there's
it's
one in
not
Blairstown.
us. We don't go checking all the sirens.
So we know there's one in Blairstown?
So, yeah, there's one over there. And whether it's working or not, I don't know.
It's on X.
We know there's one in Tightwad.
Yeah, there you go. See, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
We know there's one in Calhoun. We know there's one in Windsor. We know there's one in Clinton. We don't know about Montrose. Brownington, it's a village too, just like,
Looks like their siren protocols are a little broken.
Yeah, their protocol in St. Louis is a lot bigger place.
Erie,
That just popped up on X.
what about Urick? Do we know if they
I
have,
think, I
do we
think,
know if
I
they have
think
one?
Urick's got one.
I'll bet
I think
yours
Urick's
is
got,
big enough.
Urick's good. You're not gonna have to worry about,
I'm gonna put them on the question list because we don't know for sure.
Okay.
We're talking
But
about
Blairstown we know has one, we know Tightwad has one, we know Windsor, Clinton,
Yeah.
Calhoun,
Urick, well, I'm just pretty sure.
Montrose, Brownington, Urick, we don't know for 100%.
just popped up on X.
Deepwater?
Deepwater
I
has
don't know,
one?
I
Oh,
know,
we
I don't know that.
This is what
I'm
they're
just
talking
thinking the
about.
towns.
Yeah.
Well, that's how we gotta
Here.
start.
Yeah,
Crazy situation.
you got Windsor.
Yeah, I know Windsor's got them. I know Clinton, Calhoun. I know
Mhm.
Calhoun has them because I hear
Yeah.
them.
You know, when you say that, I haven't heard Clinton's in quite a while go off.
I know
When
the
they're
last two
testing
times-
it.
the last two times.
But testing it,
It hasn't.
Oh.
They didn't test it. Because that's what Subby's email was about.
and I'll agree, it'd be nice to have somebody, but like I say, it's just another job. To have them check in when they check it. Check mark, it was done at that point in time. It's kinda like us firing up the generator, that has to be started once a month to check it. The big one,
Big one, yeah.
and just different things you have to do. That's part of your job.
Well, nobody's
And Mark-
maliciously not setting off their tornado siren. It's just something they don't
No, you don't
think about, you know. And if we had
And
somebody
I
who
don't-
was in charge say, "Hey, it's time to test your sirens,"
And I'm
turn 'em
not for
off.
sure that don't fall in, it goes back to the 911 because people call in. They're the ones that hit the button to set them off. That's all them off.
What would go back to 911 though? I mean, the whoever is the owner of the siren, I'm not sure who that
And they
is.
can set them off.
No, that they have to initiate
Yeah.
the set
Yeah.
off. They have to
Somebody-
let dispatch know to set them off to
Somebody-
test them.
To test them, yes.
Well, yeah.
I was just thinking just fire them up. So,
I don't think that's.
hey, put it on the counter, put it out, everybody put it on your calendar, and first one in. Make a test.
It just needs to be consistent and done all the time. Done at the appropriate time all the time.
I don't know, I had a guy, he was down Taiwan. Oh, we turned down there bottom towards the lake, Matt, they walked out there in the morning. He said they went down to their ice house. They got a place in the ground and ice. He said, well, we went down there and he said, I looked out cracked the door open, looked and see what was going on. He said, all the trees are just going around in a circle. But it broke down there alone, so it broke the dock, main dock loose from there, moved it like 8 feet out.
Really.
They can't get out. They did. Now they've got electricity restored. Everything down there. But then they're trying to connect the docks because two of the docks completely loose.
I haven't personally been down there, but I've seen enough pictures to know that they've got
Yeah,
a lot.
I haven't been down there. Jeff and they're down there today. But working, so.
My family lives in Taiwan, on the south side of Taiwan. I just think the
Missed
heavens
them, huh?
just went right
Yeah.
by them.
Well, there's looking there.
Yeah, that's the same thing with us. Like, just went right by us. We only had a couple of trees uprooted.
Tell you what, we was lucky. We had some trees, some pretty good sized trees come down, but nothing like some of them others too. But I had 2 or 3 over farms, just even the roots just pulling out of the ground.
Now, I have an aunt that lives in Redbud South. She had a
Oh, I
tree
guess,
in
yeah.
her house. Yeah.
Yep. And that guy this morning was down at the store. One pair of tin snips. He got a piece of tin. He said he had a hole in his garage. He said, I can't just patch it right now for that. Get it done.
Well, and the problem, they couldn't. Nobody could get down there. There were so many
roads-
trees
no,
and stuff
trees,
down.
you
They
couldn't
couldn't
get
get
through.
down to
The roads is blocked.
help anybody, or
Right.
it's just
The roads is
awful.
all blocked.
Just awful. What's even scarier is sitting up in Kansas City in a hotel room,
Oh, that-
watching it all unfold while there was nothing you can do while it
No.
was going right over your
Oh,
family's.
wouldn't that be I'd hate to be in apartments up there. You know, just think about it.
Especially the way they build those apartments.
I wasn't worried. I was fine up there. My family down here was the ones getting hit, and there was nothing I could do. Just sit there and pray. I didn't like it at all. We got to
You better.
tour the Kansas City Current Stadium up there,
Oh,
the
you did?
female women's
Yeah,
soccer.
that was it.
It was a really neat tour.
Yes.
Really neat tour. So
Did you have a good meeting?
only professional female sport stadium
that's
in the
right.
world.
Yeah.
So pretty cool.
Did y'all have a good meeting?
We did. We did.
Did you hear much about Senate Bill 190?
No, this was an elections meeting, not a
Oh,
county
it wasn't
clerk.
a
And
county.
we
It
talked
wasn't a
about it
county
at
clerk.
the tables, but
Yeah, but
we
it wasn't
didn't
a
have a
county clerk's
session.
meeting.
it is, but it isn't. It's focused on
Yeah,
elections. Our
okay.
fall meeting is on all the other county clerk stuff.
Okay.
It was still the county clerks, and it was discussion at some of the tables, and I'm on the training committee, and we're going to do some training on it just to kind of compare and see who's doing what. But
Mhm.
no, there wasn't a lot of discussion. Basically, when you mention it, everybody goes. Nobody wants to talk about it.
Well,
It doesn't matter if they've enacted it or not.
the people, the worst thing is I think some of them think they won't have any tax.
Dude, there's a lot of misinformation out there. Can you believe next week's the last week of May? How did that happen? This year's almost half over.
Oh.
First week in June, I'm going to be starting my cyber audit that's required by the state for my elections. So I may be in and out of here on the first week of June.
Have you got time to look over that audit we had?
Have I had time to look over it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I wanted to see, what do you think on some of that?
I think Rick answered what needed to be addressed. The CFA, which was our biggest issue, that's the schedule of expenditures of federal awards is what that stands for.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I'm sure Rick may have explained it to you guys. We've got to put what you've actually spent, not received. So if you received $100,000 in 2025,
how much you spent? I thought
it's how much you have spent, and so that's where we struggle on maintaining those numbers. I have already created a document. I actually stole it from another county and kind of changed it to work for us. That when an office, I haven't implemented it yet because still finding my feet. I haven't had time to do this. But when an office holder applies for a grant that is federal money, they have to fill this form out, inform me of what the total grant amount was, when they applied for it, all of the numbers, that has to come to the county clerk's office, because we're the ones that ultimately have to
Yeah.
report that. And then as they spend money from it, then that's where the receipts will come in, and you can attach those receipts to the form, so that you're tracking it as you go, instead of at the end of the year going, what did we spend out of this?
I thought we put that all in a separate deal whenever we was doing any grants, a separate account.
No.
Okay.
No.
I
Not
I
each
thought
grant
we-
gets a separate
okay,
account.
well,
Mm-mm.
He puts all the grants in one.
No,
one
not
place.
all of them. There's no one size fits all for grants.
All right. Well,
Um,
I guess I don't understand. That's why I was asking. I was wondering.
that's why it does get confusing, because if we're dumping 17
'Cause I
different
thought-
grants
yeah.
into general revenue,
So that's what I was.
then you're spending like whatever out of each
Yeah.
little line that only comes out of that one line grant. So, and then each one has a special number that it has to have, and
Mhm.
it'll tell you when you apply for the grant if you
Oh, yeah.
have to report it. If you don't, sometimes it gets missed that you did have to report it and you didn't. I mean, we just need a better grant tracking system, and I'm working on implementing not an application process on our end,
Cause I know.
but so that the elected official has to notify us that they've applied for this grant, instead of trying to dig it up 12 months later.
Well, I thought.
Am I addressing the issues? Yes.
Okay. Right. Well, what I'd seen, that's what I was curious on, just like the ARPA, whenever we done all that, each one of them, I thought we had.
ARPA had it. That's why I said
That's
that's
what-
not a one size fits all. Just an ARPA
Yeah.
fund is a federal grant,
See,
but I also receive federal grants for elections, and those don't have their own funds. They go into
a different group.
general revenue.
Oh, okay. All right.
ARPA monies were different because they had to be tracked
Yes.
and reported.
That's what I was gonna say. Everything we spent out of that was tracked.
Right, that's just that
You're talking
type
about
of
all the
grant
little, the smaller grants that you get.
that are
well,
still
yeah.
considered
Yeah,
federal.
grants,
They're still
grant,
federal
yeah.
money.
That's right.
So,
Cause you get that. No, that's why. I was
victims
trying-
advocate grants. There's federal money there.
Yeah.
Emergency management, the sheriff's
Every one.
office. I mean, there's grant monies all over the county.
And
They
y'all
don't
just
all
had
get their
them
own
all. Okay,
fund. Yeah, they're.
I
It's.
understand. I was trying to follow that and I thought, I just know that
ARPA's
Of
just
course,
one
ARPA-
grant that we
no,
got. I mean,
that's the
and
one
it really wasn't
I
even a
knew
grant.
what we
They said,
spent
"Here's your
out of
money."
it. Cause it's,
I said we didn't apply for it. They just said, "Here's your money."
That's it.
That's not a grant, in my opinion.
No.
A grant is something that you
It's a
go through a
headache.
process to.
that's the biggest headache we ever had.
Wow.
And it probably helped us more than we think. Really.
But yes, I am working on fixing that so we don't have that in the audit anymore.
Yeah.
It's a tracking system that I'm trying to.
Cause
come up
that's the only thing I seen that we had, really.
Well, when I spoke with them, that was also their main concern.
And
was
see, that's the
just-
next thing. They never did come up and talk to us.
No, sometimes the single audit don't. The
Well, I
state
thought-
do.
Well, I thought they used to, and they done that one every 4 years, or every 2 years, or whatever it is.
That's the
every 2
state.
years.
Yeah, this
They
was a
come-
single financial audit. This was
oh,
something
this is a
different.
financial deal. Yep. Okay. Down with it. That is because that's when they get into sheriff's stuff and
Because we had ARPA monies that we spent, that's why we had
Yeah.
to have the single financial.
yeah. Okay.
The big audits, we haven't even
Yeah.
seen yet. So,
That's what I was thinking.
but I'm wanting to get my CFA
Yeah.
implemented by next year, so that when we do get the
Then we'll
audit, we
have
can say, look, we had that already. We've addressed it. We've put this new in place,
Yeah.
and this is how we're.
And that other one that we have, we need to somehow get something where all the office holders make them do one and get it off our platter.
Oh, the risk management.
Yes, risk management deal.
We have one in our office.
Yeah. We need one here.
I think
Do
it's
we have
risk
to have one for
management.
the commission? We need,
I don't know.
huh?
I don't know.
I presume. That'd be a good one. Mark, you can work on that. Huh?
Now,
I didn't make sure.
Kathy did tell me that through the company that we use, that they have a CFA tracking program that they can do where I think it was like $6,000 a year. But they do have so clearly it's not just something that Henry County struggles with if they're making up whole entire programs
Yeah.
and charging county $6,000
Oh, yeah.
a year
That's-
to
Hey,
maintain it. So.
mm-mm-mm. Well, I guess you could build part of the grant money for that. Couldn't you?
There does need to be a better way to track when you have so many people with different
Yeah.
irons.
Well, I don't know.
There's
Every
I'm
office
hoping-
gets grants, seems like.
Yeah,
I understand when you said that because the sheriff probably is the biggest one over there.
they
Well-
get several, but so does victims
That's
advocate.
right. Victim
I mean,
advocate,
emergency management.
all of
I even get them in my. I mean, I
Yeah.
apply for them in my
Elections.
office for elections. Pays for equipment and
it. Hmm.
maintenance. And
I don't know.
I am working on something. If the question was, what are you going to do about it, Kelly? I am working on a tracking system.
Okay.
Whether it works or not.
The only one I'd like to say that was always digging on every year was that one. But that was on the big one too.
On what?
On the cover of every office.
Oh, the
Or,
risk,
yeah,
risk
risk
management
management,
or
yeah.
whatever that's called. Internal control
Mhm.
policy.
Well, see, that's where it came whenever I had to, when I stamped something, then I had to initial. And the auditor said, no, you need to initial. What's the use of doing it?
And every auditor is different. One will say, well, why do you do that? Well, because the last
That's
auditors
right.
told us that we had to. We don't have to do that.
When we used to do passports, that was the biggest headache too.
Just depends on who you get that day.
Yeah, I was sure tickled to see that go to library.
I got an email that Secretary of State Hoskins is looking to visit my office on the 11th of June. It is a Wednesday, so you guys will not be in session. But if you wish, I can't remember what time. Let me look real quick.
Yeah.
My emails are a mess because I was gone for so long, so I'm trying to find it. Jake Greer.
Well,
there we go. No.
That's what's going. I got to get I need my other pie pad. I want to get it down. I'm going to be gone. I thought it was the 6th September. I didn't put it in my phone yet. Yeah. Oh, it's okay.
There we go.
I'm
June
supposed to
11th
leave-
at 11:15.
Huh?
June 11th at 11:15.
Need to write this down more so you know. The 16th, September 16th on a Tuesday. And I may, if I can make it, I'll probably make it, hopefully make the meeting. If something happens and the flight leaves earlier, I may have to leave early. But we're going to be gone because I'll be gone the rest of that week. Thursday for sure. Then the 18th I'll miss. And then I'm supposed to be back in Kansas City the 22nd or 22nd. I just don't know what time. But then the 23rd is Tuesday. And I'll have to let you know. But that's the big thing. I just want you to check. get Jake to know where it is in Kelly.
So the
Now,
16th and 18th.
just figure me 16th, well, it'll be from the 16th to the 23rd. We're gonna go to Jackson.
There you go.
I actually think I'm gone that week
I'm
too.
gonna- we was up in Wyoming, but we didn't go spend our time. But Gail and Leonard for the folks over there, we travel together. They're gone all the time. I never knew where they're at. Anyway.
We can get good up there, man.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna make that's where we're gonna go. We used to always go to Colorado. Sure. You're ready and just rent a Jeep, go to the mountains. We're gonna go up there. I hadn't seen it.
My county clerk conference is sometime in that.
Huh?
I think my county clerk's conference is that same week.
It is. Oh, we're waiting on Chris, isn't it?
Yeah, and I just texted him to
Oh, okay.
come
Yeah.
if he could. He came up earlier and you guys were talking with Mark, and so he texted me and said, "Text me when tell me when to come
Yeah,
up." And I
I'd
said,
like-
"Come on."
Yeah, I like knowing about. I want to make sure we get together. But that's something we want to do for a long time. I don't know where you know much about electricity, but you remember the old canisters they had, and then they have a fuse inside of it.
Fuse in them. Yep.
Guess what?
That's what's still down there.
That's what's still there. And when we had all the problems there one year, I said, "Tell you what, whatever we do, well, it's costly to move it inside at that time." So I didn't know. That's why I wanted to check on that, because in having them do it, I didn't know what's going to curtail. So that could be a price for that. Because at the time, I know that was the biggest problem we had. And then shutting the whole courthouse down because it has to be cut down. It will take a while to come through the wall. But I presume they have everything all set up for that. Seconds.
Yeah, the way Martin is, they're gonna have the wire pulled and everything all they have to do.
Yeah, but I mean, but that's the hookup generator, I guess. Because that's the part I couldn't figure out. I got to the breaker box. If something happens, you lose power, it kicks out. But in this case, we're moving all our stuff inside too. That curtails a lot of
Are
water.
they just coming inside the wall and doing it right there, or are they moving?
That's,
further?
I don't know that. I don't know, because at one time, that was a big thing, was having a place to put it. But now that we've cleaned out down there, they may be able to where the old bathroom was, what we talked about, going in that wall. But I'd sure rather have all that electric. It needs to be inside.
Yeah.
But then if that's the case, if the wiring in here's, you go up in the attic, you still got the insulators.
Insulators
And
and
the wire hooked to them, and some of them are still.
That's what I had when I bought my house.
Yeah, okay, that's showing you age there.
Yeah. Yeah, every bit of it.
There be the man with the answers.
Huh?
So there be the man with the
Oh, why
answers.
you stand?
What?
You standing outside there.
We're not standing outside before, and I thought, well, I'm not.
Well, you should have came in.
Well, no.
I was wanting to find out about now we're moving out all on the inside, all the boxes, breaker
It's-
boxes.
We're working on it, a little bit at a time.
Well, that's what I was curious on. You're bringing the main breaker box inside.
Well, we've
Where?
got some from our air conditioning. We've moved some stuff inside, so then some of it's going to be a nightmare.
Oh, that's what I'm.
Yeah, so,
I,
you know,
I,
and people look at it and they're like, no, you know. So
well, when it's talking about shutting down everything like that, I couldn't understand. Mark and I was talking. I said, heck, all they're doing if they're just tying in,
Yeah.
shouldn't be a big deal.
Well,
but when
what there is to do is the breaker boxes
Yes.
for the first and the basement are out underneath the
yes,
sidewalk.
yep,
And what you're going to do, shut them off long enough to pull and tie through the generator transfer switch in there. But they need to also test the generator and the transfer switch to make sure everything works. And I talked to them yesterday, and they're okay with after hours or something to do all that.
all right. The big thing I guess what I was getting at, I thought was moving the main boxes inside the building,
Well,
the main breaker. With the old, do away with the old, have a breaker instead of a.
as we can.
Well, that's why I was
I'm emptying boxes, and like the first units for the third floor,
Yeah,
they'll be moved inside.
your air conditioning units. What
Yes.
yeah, okay.
So,
I'm with you on them.
You know, we
Um,
will have one of the big boxes empty,
Okay.
and then we can turn it into a
Breaker?
more like just a junction box, and we can bring more electricity into that room and transform more stuff into it. See that's the big problem is whenever we worked on the first units, we tripped one of the breakers down there,
Mhm.
and it wouldn't reset. So we had to have Evergy or whatever come and disconnect it from the pole. We took the breaker apart, tripped it, put it back together, and then in magic marker I have do not shut off.
Yeah. The big thing is
So
get something in there and get
Yeah.
rid of them old
Well,
canisters.
yeah, we're working on it.
Okay. But
Um,
I guess my thoughts are the box for them to get it into a solid breaker
mhm.
is going to be a little pricey there.
Yeah,
what I
that's
was
why I'm
wondering.
kind of
That's why I was checking.
doing. I seen an opportunity to move some more stuff in while we was doing the generator, and so I'm gonna get that done, and that'll be just that much less that there's still to do. Not really a safety hazard. It's just it needs
Well,
to be inside
that's my big thing.
because
We've talked about it for a long time, and I
Yeah.
thought you was moving the main breaker with
Yeah.
old canisters inside too.
well,
But that's going to take a big breaker,
yes,
and that's going to be a pricey little
uh,
box.
yes. And the good thing is we've got all LEDs, and
Yeah,
nothing
it's
draws
saving-
any electricity anymore. We don't have
The wattage going to
yes.
it. We do.
so. Like I said, it's. I've had several people look at it and are like,
Yeah, I know it.
because it ain't gonna be a day down. It's gonna be
Yeah.
several days.
Yeah, to get it
you know,
done.
because
That's
we really need to go all the way back into the transfer switch
that's right.
and start over. We're kind of talking about making a junction box out there, but that's still
Okay.
something else that's. 90% of the boxes that are underneath that sidewalk
Yeah, it needs
are
a-
not outside boxes to begin with. So,
How big a breaker box we would need in the main box to do that? To get it?
I think what's there now is 350 or 400 amps, but and that again, there's a big switch out there. We don't know what it runs. See, that's the worst thing is we don't know without shutting it off. And then what do you do if you can't turn it back on?
You want to do that,
No. So,
but what I worry about is that breaking
mhm.
or something happen.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm trying. The worst boxes are Federal Pacific. They're illegal. They've been
Yeah.
illegal for
Yeah, several
40 years. That's the one breaker that wouldn't reset. was, so,
would it be smart to check and see what that main breaker box costs?
Yeah.
Because that's one,
yeah,
I guess my main concern, because that's where all the guts are right there.
yeah. But
'Cause
like I
then
said,
you
we're
fill out-
emptying them,
Yeah, the
boxes
little
out,
ones,
so.
that's right.
uh,
Okay.
but-
I'll tell you what, if you get a chance, check and see what that other one would be.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
the case, cause that's the one I'm really concerned with.
Yeah.
Because if something would happen, we'd blow that breaker.
Yeah.
You talk about being down.
Well, see, another thing to worry about is over at the pole, they're running out of our wire.
Yeah,
They're getting down to where if it burns off another couple of times, we'll have to run new wire
that's right.
to the building, and so
But you think that's you think that main
I
big one out there?
I'd better just go look,
Hey,
check
on that and see and
Okay.
sometime come down.
Okay.
I'd like you to look at one.
Mhm.
I've got, when we used to have the retrip plant down there,
Mhm.
see, I had a lot of 3-phase running there, and I had some high powered stuff.
Mhm.
But I know when we bought the boxes, that was like,
Oh yeah,
that was there.
I,
But I've got one that may, if it'd be big enough, but, cause I don't need all that power, but I guess what I was looking at, if we can make work.
well,
But let's find out how much one, and if we can just buy it, I'd rather do that, cause I hate
Yeah.
to do it, but.
Yeah.
I guess what I was saying.
yeah, well, that's since the first day I walked out underneath there and I seen that.
Oh,
My goal has been to get that the hell out of there into that little room.
when I walked out there, I couldn't believe it. And then they had a little generator out there.
Yeah.
I fell over and that was back in 11. I said, good God, I couldn't believe
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
And
it's.
I wouldn't know. And I used to have some of them, I threw them in the dumpster.
Yeah.
Them damn, the fuses that go in there.
Oh yeah, yeah. It like I said, but
All right.
luckily
Okay.
we have got rid of most of the load in this building.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I just wondered, because when I heard that box, I thought, holy cat, he needs to talk about that big box if that's what we're doing.
Yeah,
You're
like I
just
said,
moving some of the stuff out of the little box over there.
Yeah,
or
well,
small-
them
the
two
smaller
big,
boxes.
there's two big boxes
I know.
side by side.
Yeah.
This one will be empty.
Okay.
It'll have nothing in it, and trying to remember what's left in this one.
Okay.
Other than right now, it's a lot of a junction box
Yeah.
because without shutting everything down, we're
Okay.
just
I'm with you now.
trying to piece it in and
Okay. All right.
gain.
Okay.
We're
That's
trying
why
to
I was,
We're trying to gain.
well, that's what I was curious about. And I just couldn't visualize, and I don't know what did they give you an idea how much it's going to cost us to do that?
Well, what they're doing this time won't be very expensive because they're just pulling it,
Okay.
2 of them back in. Other than the generator,
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Well, generators
That's
already
another
did.
deal. That's
They
another
already
deal.
give us the cost. Right. Okay. Then all they're pulling the other 2 wires
Yeah.
back.
It's a couple breakers. And,
Okay. All right. That's what I was wanting to know. Thank you.
good enough.
If you'd hollered, I'd been appreciate it.
All right.
You can do something like that. Oh, I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, sure.
Thank you.
There you go. I answered my question. But I know down there, and what I'm still concerned with is that big box. Because if something happened, then we would blow that breaker. We are down water until we get something done. There isn't an easy fix. So. Okay. You have anything else? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that. Motion been made and adjourned. We're adjourned. And Bruce, you've done well. You've stayed.